I, I don't want to lose you. I was wrong. He held the wedding ring and threw it hard onto the floor. A cold clink echoed. From this moment on, I am no longer your husband. Get out of my house and never let the children see that unfaithful face again. He turned his back and walked away without looking back. Salutations, beloved Adam aficionados. Today we embark on a journey through a tale that reveals itself through careful inquiry. Several updates await our exploration, inviting us to immerse ourselves in the forthcoming experience. What shall we call it? At the age of 46, I find myself grappling with a troubling suspicion regarding my wife, who is 39. I fear she may be entangled in an affair. It appears we have a glimpse of the path ahead, but let us dive into the story as it unfolds. Recently, I've been wrestling with the disquieting notion that my wife might not be loyal, and I find myself uncertain about the next steps to take from here. Without concrete evidence, I find myself reluctant to broach the subject with her, apprehensive that if all is well, it could result in unwarranted complications or even the act of hiding something. It has simply been the subtle nuances and an innate sense of perception. About 4 months ago, she began a more intense workout routine and cultivated a greater fascination with her appearance. Her beauty is undeniably captivating, yet she rarely chose to embellish it with makeup or spent time perfecting her hairstyle. She has started to protect her phone with vigilance, a shift I perceive as a concerning sign. It is a common practice for us to peruse one another's phones, yet hers is always kept close at hand. Whenever I ask her to take a picture or engage in a similar task, she firmly insists that I utilize my own device instead. She has been spending more and more time at the office, often staying late, and has taken on numerous extra business trips out of town. In the span of the last 4 months, she has refrained from initiating any semblance of intimacy, bestowing only fleeting, peck-like kisses. I endeavored to reach out to her numerous times, only to encounter rejection repeatedly. At times, she granted me the freedom to continue, yet her disinterest cast a shadow over the moment, leaving me with a profound sense of solitude as she remained still and unresponsive. It left me feeling profoundly disheartened, even more so than confronting blatant rejection. In our earlier conversation, I brought up the lack of intimacy, to which she replied, revealing her perpetual fatigue stemming from the relentless pressures of motherhood, her job, and her weightlifting regimen. She vowed to put in the effort and to kiss me later that night, yet nothing has changed. I find myself contemplating whether this might be a reflection of a midlife crisis in some form. A man at her workplace raises my suspicions. I fear he may become a source of trouble. My wife frequently mentioned him, yet several months ago she ceased to bring him into our conversations. Nevertheless, I recognize that they persist in their close collaboration. He seems to embody the essence of a family man, committed to his spouse and children, and has shared with my wife the struggles he faces within his marriage. Our meetings were brief, and he appeared to disregard my existence completely. We discovered ourselves surrounded by a multitude of others. He falls short when measured against my allure, and undoubtedly fails to align with my physical prowess. I express this not out of pride, but because it is undeniably true. I stand with a strong presence, whereas he resides in the realm of the commonplace, bearing a few additional pounds. His flamboyant style and vivacious personality truly come alive, particularly when he savors a drink. Though I derive scant enjoyment from drinking, my wife has voiced her wish for me to accompany her on an occasional night out. I finished my high school education, whereas he possesses a master's degree. His earnings far surpass mine. I devote my time to training fighters, a pursuit that fills me with great joy, though my financial rewards are rather modest. This person probably earns 6 times what I do and takes immense pride in displaying his belongings. I offer this as my assessment of our distinctions. The foremost contemplation that has filled my thoughts is this recent journey for work, which unfolded at a tropical resort. In that instant, I sensed the presence of a considerable crowd in attendance. As fate would have it, it was simply my wife, this flamboyant gentleman, and the CEO. The CEO, in his later years, often appears detached from social engagements. He immerses himself completely in his work. Within the depths of my mind, my wife and this other man wove a tapestry of shared moments during that week, partaking in activities cloaked in enigma. I stand at a crossroads, caught between the urge to affirm my instincts and the trepidation of sparking a greater discord by addressing her or raising the inquiry. Over the years, we have navigated a spectrum of experiences, and I can assert with certainty that my view of our marriage remains predominantly optimistic. All is well, with no notable issues or concerns to address. I find myself leaning towards a more reserved demeanor, and my financial circumstances are not particularly strong, presenting a slight challenge for my wife. She asserts that I am not entirely tapping into my potential and proposes that I could achieve a much higher income by exploring an alternative route. I do not intend to suggest that she harbors an obsession with wealth. However, I acknowledge that many women tend to feel more comfortable when supported by a more significant financial foundation. She holds the conviction that I am capable of venturing into other pursuits, yet I perceive myself as lacking the credentials that extend beyond the domains of battle and the mentorship of fighters. That has fundamentally shaped my being. Or maybe contemplating a path as a personal trainer. Although these endeavors may not bring significant monetary rewards, she seems to derive a sense of fulfillment from them all the same. A companion advised me to keep my doubts concealed and to start taking steps to watch and collect any evidence that might be present. Still, I wrestle with the unease of encroaching upon her personal space. If she were to betray my trust, I cannot envision a circumstance where I would opt to stay by her side. I genuinely hope that my worries are misplaced. Nevertheless, the idea of her betrayal starts to flood my mind, driving me to uncover the truth, no matter what it entails. The existence of our two children is what stirs within me a sense of unease. My engagement in every facet of my children's lives runs deep, and the mere idea of being with them only half the time would break my heart. I regret the extended nature of this message. I would be thankful for any guidance on how to approach this situation. Having established the foundation, we are now poised to explore Update 1, presenting the most recent insights. I have successfully acquired the login credentials for our mobile account. Her phone served as an ever-present ally in her professional life, and all appeared routine until I started to delve into the numbers and timestamps. A multitude of messages poured into a specific number in the late hours of the night, mere hours after we had drifted into slumber. I plan to unveil the mystery surrounding that number and formulate a strategy to gain access to her phone, revealing the name it conceals. As I beheld this scene, a torrent of feelings washed over me, intertwined with an escalating surge of fury. I tried to persuade myself that it could be a mistake, or maybe just a friend of hers. Last night, I summoned my courage, preparing for the certainty of rejection, and I found myself abandoned. She offered her apologies, but exhaustion clung to her, accompanied by a relentless throbbing in her head. I conveyed to her my feeling that our connection was not as profound as I had envisioned. She conveyed her deep regret and pledged to make amends. She noted that it was the last time. I chose not to pursue the topic any further, offering her a simple good night before surrendering to the embrace of sleep. This morning, she shared with me her desire to embark on a girls' trip to Vegas. She abstains from the allure of gambling. I asked her about her companions, and she spoke of a few girls I had never come across before. It appears they are familiar with each other from their time at university. It may be nothing more than a coincidence, yet an array of events appears to be transpiring in a rather peculiar fashion. Following a thorough examination, I immersed myself in the complex nuances of the cell phone records accessible on the internet. It came to my attention that communications were dispatched to a specific number in the late hours of the night. They were counted in the hundreds. I picked up the receiver of the payphone and dialed the number, only to find myself connected to one of her colleagues, the very one I feared could stir up some trouble. As she indulged in the warmth of the shower, I seized the opportunity to snatch her phone, only to discover that the text conversation had mysteriously vanished. Furthermore, the number associated with that individual was saved in her phone under a woman's name. Anxiety swells within me as I contemplate the journeys she embarked upon, especially with him accompanying her. It became essential for me to venture outdoors and collect my thoughts amidst the invigorating embrace of fresh air. I gathered my resolve to make the journey back home, but now I stand at a crossroads, unsure of the path that lies ahead. Should I present my findings to her, she is likely to brush them aside with some rationale. I stand at a pivotal juncture, grappling with the choice between holding my tongue to collect more proof or unveiling the truth in a timely manner. My fury is limitless. My anger towards her simmers just beneath the surface, while an irresistible impulse drives me to confront the other man. Withstanding that temptation will require all the strength I can muster. I am plagued by the notion that she might reveal her inappropriate flirting, yet I worry that I do not possess enough proof to elicit such a confession from her. Could you offer any insights on the ideal time to approach her? I intend to maintain my distance as she sends her messages, and then I will intervene to ask about the identity of her correspondent. Pay attention to whether she utters falsehoods in my presence. Indeed, let us explore the unfolding of this tale with the second update. Last night, I lingered in a state of eager expectation after all had succumbed to slumber. I pretended to sleep, patiently waiting to see if she would get up from her bed to grab her phone. In the stillness of the night, she ascends shortly after the clock strikes midnight, gliding into another room and gently closing the door behind her. Following a moment of stillness, I stood up, quickly unlatched the door, and made my way towards her. I admitted that slumber had slipped through my fingers and asked her what she was currently engaged in. I caught her in the act of texting, hovering above her just before she could extract any understanding. I watched her hand as it cautiously reached to hide the phone. She noted that sleep had slipped through her fingers, and she was connecting with a friend through a text message. I crafted a plan and set forth to execute it. I found myself hovering above her, leaning in for a kiss, and asked if she was open to delving deeper. As I had foreseen, she conveyed her inability to acquiesce. A chuckle escaped my lips as I started to tickle her, teasingly implying that her attention was more ensnared by the girlfriend she was messaging than by my company. In a fleeting moment of playful exchange, I playfully grappled with her and successfully snatched the phone away. Her gaze was thick with fear. She endeavored to reclaim it from me, yet I turned my eyes away and raised it aloft, as though participating in a playful game of keep away. I caught myself chuckling and feigning delight during the entirety of the experience. I conveyed to her my plan to contact this girlfriend and ask if she harbored any feelings for my wife. My wife exclaimed, "Please don't call her." I turned to leave, my fingers gliding over the text messages until I came across one that said, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow." I activated the call feature, and in that moment, time seemed to stretch infinitely until at last, the man answered. Unprepared for the conversation, I found myself compelled to bring the call to a close. Then I started to explore the words presented to my wife. I asked if she thought her girlfriend had replied or if it was a man who had done so. She chose to remain silent. As I commenced reading the text aloud, I glanced at her and asked why she was dispatching such a message to a guy in the late hours of the night. She expressed her uncertainty. I asked if she had anything she wanted to share with me. She held her tongue. In that moment, I disclosed to her that I had meticulously examined her cell phone records and was fully aware of all that transpired. I sensed the instant she would awaken and extend her hand to message that guy, and I knew precisely who he was. She succumbed to tears, her voice quavering as she expressed her heartfelt apologies. I held on to my composure. I expressed that the forthcoming moments were of utmost importance. Should she withhold the complete truth, severe consequences would ensue. She noted that she started to engage in flirtation with her coworker, who was facing marital challenges, and it slowly developed into something more playful. She asserted that she had never been involved with this man in any way. My unease resided in the chance that she might merely recognize what I had already perceived. I conveyed to her that should she fail to present the whole truth, it would be best for her to collect her things and leave. As tears cascaded down her cheeks, she acquiesced, her voice quivering as she expressed her heartfelt apologies. Just before she crossed the threshold, she glanced back at me and asked if I planned to leave her behind. I conveyed to her that the hour had grown late and that we would revisit the matter at a more opportune moment. She set forth to her mother's dwelling, and I have not yet beheld her once more. Yet her relentless barrage of messages compelled me to power down my phone. I plan to find a marriage counselor and arrange an appointment. I hope my wife understands that I am ready to invest time in addressing our issues for now. I would like to share that I am seeking counseling to help me through the journey of separation. The whole event last night played out exactly as I had imagined it would. As I playfully wrestled and tickled her, an instinct to protect myself began to stir within me. I documented every moment with my phone, simply as a safeguard in the event that she chooses to make any allegations against me. I asked my friend about the legality of recording in our state, and he confidently assured me that it was permissible. It is difficult for me to envision her ever leveling a false accusation against me. However, should I decide to part ways with her, a sense of desperation may well ensue. I rise to a height of 6 feet 4 inches, embodying an athletic frame that weighs 240 pounds. As someone who once fought in the ring and now dedicates my life to training others, I find myself in a delicate situation. Any claim of wrongdoing aimed at me appears to be met with skepticism, which could result in arrest and the devastating separation from my children. From this moment onward, I am determined to record every detail, creating a protective measure for what lies ahead. My heart feels completely broken at this time. My entire family has been destroyed. I will miss a significant portion of my children's lives as they mature, and it leaves me feeling completely broken. Although I had my doubts, the truth has left me profoundly shocked. The most disconcerting element is that this is just the beginning. I am compelled to confront the other person, yet I must hold back. I learned that he commented on my intimidating presence during our initial meeting, so I plan to evoke a sense of fear in him. It caught my attention when he referred to me as the animal in one of his messages, following her comment on my perceived lack of intelligence. Although my financial standing may not be particularly strong, and I do not hold a formal college degree, I am driven by a profound intellectual curiosity and engage with a diverse range of literature spanning numerous topics. While I may not be the most brilliant mind, I refuse to label myself as foolish. I will strive to share updates as events progress. At this moment, I am filled with uncertainty regarding the guidance that may come my way. My heart is truly shattered. He pledged to keep everyone informed, and true to his word, he has done so. Update 3. A friend of mine, an attorney, has successfully referred a lawyer who specializes in family law. Furthermore, it is rumored that this individual has also faced betrayal. In these circumstances, present him with a chance for retribution. A friend of mine recommended this lawyer, noting his willingness to be flexible with fees and his genuine desire to help. This might just tip the scales in a more favorable direction. Let us shift our focus to the other side of the narrative. My wife admitted to her unfaithfulness. She described how it started with lighthearted teasing, slowly transforming into a profound emotional bond, though it never ventured into the physical domain. I discerned the reality woven into her words, and in time, she admitted that it had reached a physical dimension, aligning with the instant she retreated from our closeness. I was confronted with an abundance of revelations, far beyond what I had ever expected to bear. The meeting was charged with a fervent intensity and an unmistakable tension. To assert that this has deeply impacted me would be a gross understatement. I am wrestling with my feelings, finding it difficult to cling to a singular thought. I proposed to my wife that it might be prudent for her to visit her mother, reassuring her that I would take care of the children, enabling them to stay at home and preserve a sense of normalcy. My attorney is crafting his strategy in the meantime. Within the walls of our home, he claims this offers a considerable advantage. I have not yet disclosed to her that our marriage has reached its conclusion. She will come to realize that when the forthcoming papers have been served, everything will change. The unyielding images of my wife and that man permeate my mind, stubbornly resisting any attempt to erase them. I offer guidance in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for both professional and semi-professional fighters, pouring my heart and soul into their growth. The concrete essence of my endeavors seems to have yielded positive results. Undoubtedly, I am pouring my heart and soul into my children. Outside the world of BJJI, I derive immense pleasure from delving into new topics. Usually, I lose myself in the pages of books for hours each night, seeking solace in their words. However, recently, I grapple with the challenge of focusing on even a single paragraph, my thoughts drifting away. The moment I understood their perception of me as a foolish being, I couldn't help but reflect on the countless other comments they may have made. This entire experience has profoundly impacted me. Once I radiated happiness, but now that joy has faded into the shadows. In another vein, word has circulated regarding the recent happenings, and numerous individuals have come forth, keen to offer their assistance in any way they can. It truly brings solace to realize that I am not alone in this journey. Several of my friends' wives have stepped forward, sharing that they know some wonderful women they would like to connect me with. A select group of people who are acquainted with me and are genuinely curious about my upcoming single status. I will hold off on dating until this matter has completely settled, and probably for a while beyond that. Yet the knowledge of various possibilities is certainly a reassuring notion. I am confident that I will navigate this situation with ease. Right now, my attention is wholly devoted to the children. I will strive to share an update soon. My wife finds herself in a tumultuous state, pleading for the preservation of our marriage. I recognize that I am unable to move beyond her actions, and staying together would merely delay the inevitable. Here I am providing an update amidst the chaos of life, compelled to return to this throwaway account to share my current circumstances. I stumbled upon the heart-wrenching reality of my wife's betrayal, only to discover her contempt for me, viewing me as foolish and lacking for not earning a considerable income. I have begun the journey of divorce anticipated to finalize by next month. We will share custody equally, and she will be offering spousal support owing to her considerably greater earnings. The current legal landscape remains unchanged. Now we shift our focus to the ensuing repercussions. My heart is broken, and my children feel this pain alongside me. Never did I envision myself stepping into the shoes of a single father, yet here I am. My wife seems to be spiraling into a deep sadness. The man she chose to stray with has deemed her not worth the trouble. It has come to my attention that she has started to embrace drinking and mingling with a myriad of strangers she meets online. Time and again, she has reached out to me, imploring for an opportunity to come back, longing to recapture the life she once cherished. A part of me felt that same longing, yet I have stood firm in my decision. Upon learning the monthly sum she would owe me, it seems this realization has ignited a wave of anger towards me. Consequently, I find myself unburdened by the worry of her contacting me. My children, however, remain oblivious to the complexities of the situation. In each transient moment of their absence, a deep sorrow wraps around me. Loneliness appears to be my unwavering companion. I often choose to spend minimal time with friends, finding solace in the familiar embrace of home. The young woman at my usual coffee shop observed my demeanor and asked if everything was all right, picking up on a trace of sadness in my expression. It appears I may not be hiding it as well as I thought. There are friends eager to introduce me to women they know, yet I find myself reluctant. I can't shake the sense that I bear the mark of the man whose wife was unfaithful. It seems like ages since I last ventured into the realm of dating. Recently, I observed a number of fighters thrive on a well-known stage, and this has rekindled a flicker of inspiration within me. Now I find myself uncertain about what to do next. At some point, I must rouse myself from this daydream and move forward. It appears I have not yet found that level of drive. A person I know contacted the other man's wife and shared the evidence I held. The mere thought of him encountering any danger was unbearable. As I couldn't approach him directly, this seemed the most fitting course of action. At first, she struggled to come to terms with it, but before long, I discovered the profound marital issues they were grappling with. As far as I know, they remain together, yet their relationship appears to be encountering some difficulties. A wave of anger washes over me, enveloping all that surrounds me. It's remarkable how life can shift from serene to chaotic in the blink of an eye. In the midst of recent happenings, a glimmer of hope emerged as I encountered a girl, brought into my life by mutual friends, who has piqued my curiosity. I have yet to muster the courage to ask her out or make any advances. Her beauty is truly captivating, though she is almost 14 years my junior. Though it may not pose a major issue, the age gap is undeniably intriguing. Reflecting on my experiences, I feel that my confidence has indeed suffered. I perceive that her charm eclipses my own. She might indeed be the one, I suppose, yet she has taken residence in my mind more than I care to admit. Such has been the narrative of the past 6 months of my life. I must confess, this has proven to be the most arduous journey I have ever faced. Once I radiated joy, but now darkness appears to shroud my spirit. This serves as the final update. Let us witness how he brings this matter to a close. In a nutshell, I uncovered my wife's betrayal, which inevitably culminated in our divorce. After nearly 15 years of shared life, it would be an understatement to say that my new existence has demanded significant adjustment. There are moments when a tide of sorrow or longing envelops me, yet these emotions are fleeting. Overall, I feel fantastic. My children are flourishing, and they often choose to be by my side. After the divorce, my wife found herself needing to take on extra responsibilities at work to navigate her new single living situation, all while providing spousal support to me. Her earnings eclipsed mine by a considerable margin. When the pandemic emerged, my schedule proved to be exceptionally flexible, enabling me to keep the children nearby and immerse myself in homeschooling. The pandemic has profoundly impacted my work, which depends heavily on in-person interactions with others. At present, opportunities for my team are scarce. It almost feels as if I've assumed the role of a stay-at-home dad. Following the whole experience, I took some time to reflect and rejuvenate. The younger girl who piqued my interest set off on a lengthy assignment with her company in Europe. We kept our bond alive through the marvels of technology. When her assignment came to an end, she returned. And from that moment on, we have been inseparable. Her affection for both me and my children runs deep. She is the very embodiment of compassion and thoughtfulness. Before we met, I had caught wind of tales about an extraordinary woman, one who seemed to mirror the essence of Wonder Woman, celebrated for her kindness that transcends the ordinary. It felt surreal, as though it were a dream crafted from the most delicate strands of creativity. Yet she is unmistakably authentic. It appears we are on the brink of exploring new chapters in our relationship. My relationship with my ex has not developed in the way I envisioned. She started to immerse herself in alcohol and sought out fleeting connections with strangers she met online. The strain of juggling extra responsibilities has taken a toll on her. In merely a handful of years, she seems to have aged a decade and a half. Once she radiated a distinct beauty, but during our last encounter she looked tired and haggard. It was as though her very spirit had been siphoned away. It might seem peculiar, yet that was the impression it imparted. Her nearest confidant revealed to me that she is profoundly discontented and challenging to endure. It perplexes me how someone who seems cheerful and in control of their life can abruptly plunge into such a dark chasm. My ex's friend remarked that she never thought I would leave after the affair. It appeared that her considerable income afforded her a kind of power over me, fostering a sense of control within her. The affair brought about consequences she had not anticipated. I genuinely hope she finds peace, particularly for my child's well-being. Despite some hurdles posed by the pandemic, everything is unfolding beautifully. I am deeply grateful that I made the decision to conclude my first marriage swiftly rather than extending the unavoidable. I recognized the daunting decision before me, yet I sensed it was the right course to pursue. Thus I pressed on through the arduous journey. I encounter no obstacles in my daily strides, fully conscious that I will, in the end, prevail. In these moments, one must reflect on the enduring consequences. At first, a profound sense of loss may wash over you, giving way to surges of sorrow, then a more profound sadness, culminating in a pervasive sense of despair. Nevertheless, despite the challenges that lie ahead, you continue to press forward. Immerse yourself in demanding workouts daily. Strive to achieve one meaningful task each day that elevates your skills or fosters your personal development. This isn't the typical self-help narrative. It's about cultivating authentic abilities. My exploration of short films commenced with the companions I train with. In this creative pursuit, I unearthed the craft of videography and editing, evolving it into a delightful pastime. I immerse myself in a diverse array of books to broaden my knowledge across different topics. I committed to a daily practice of engagement. As time unfolds, the small details begin to gather like leaves in the autumn breeze. It is vital to dedicate oneself to the journey and to cherish the grace of patience. One might have anticipated the path this was charting, yet it seems to be blossoming for the original poster. Congratulations. I sincerely wish for the positive energy to endure and for all to keep getting better.